Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is a shower vlog. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to join me, and so I'm just going to jump right into it. Tonight, I have some different ways on how to make the first move, alright? So it's really important that you pay attention, follow, and then execute. Execute. Alright, so the first way that I have for you to make that first move is actually from readunwritten.com by Victoria. I preface this is by a woman because she says this: grow some balls. Alright, so I stumbled on this whole feminist revolution type thinking when I was doing the research for this blog, and I love every second of it. So again, according to readunwritten.com in an article written by Victoria, and again, all of these sources, follow me on Twitter, and I send out all the articles I just did, and they're hilarious. But anyways, so this woman says for all other girls to grow some balls, figuratively speaking, of course. Make the first move. And again, that's not me that said that, but there's this woman, and I'm for that. As a man, I guess is what I'm saying, is and it'll go into this, into this discussion further, but I like it when women make the first move. I mean, if it's a question of empowerment or social status or anything, I'm completely oblivious to that, just only knowing from my perception that I think it's really hot when a girl has the balls, figuratively speaking, to come, make the first move on me. It makes my life a whole lot less stressful, because at least then I know what she's thinking, and that's always fun to know what a woman is thinking, so that I don't have to try and figure it out, at least in my case. But anyways, yeah, so this girl goes, she writes this whole article on her own experiences with why women can't make the first move, and she says that women should make the first move, and I agree with her. And so that first way to make the first move is for women to grow some balls, figuratively speaking, according to this article. And yeah, and so there's another article that is by Haley Nauman. It was published on February 27, 2018. It's called 21 Women on How They Made the First Move, and said, women aren't... Okay, so yeah, in this article, this was the really big, feminist article by the woman, and so actually the article is on a website called manrepeller.com, and it's this whole cool website about all these things that women are really into, or how they feel about some things, and I love it. And so I have to clarify, and what I mean is, she goes on in there to say that women aren't the default for social examples of how to get or give advice on how to make a first move, and I completely agree with that. That's not the precedent here. I mean, at least for me and my intention, because women aren't the social default. Just for future reference, so that you all know that my own experiences withdraw from heterosexual experiences if it were to have a label and it had a title and we were to identify it as such. So that's why my language is often geared in that manner. So it's really not to be politically incorrect or anything. But yeah, so read that article. But the bottom line is that there's a lot of what I gathered is that there are a lot of women who really feel like it's not cool, one, to think that men should only make the first move, and two, that women should feel comfortable making the first move, and it should be a societal expectation also, just as it is for a man to do the same thing. So, in that way. And then that gets into our second reason, our second way of how to make the first move. And there's all these really cool notes on these, so I hate losing them. But, yeah. And, alright, so, okay. I draw from different sources. I try to bring balance to what we talk about in our blogs. And so we just talked about a woman-written article about some things from manrepeller.com, and now we're talking about this website, an article from this website called roadtosolidity.com, and the mission statement is for men who care about being solid. And so it's quite the opposite experience from this website to the next, and they offer different examples. But the one that I could agree with in this whole article was that I don't think it's wise when you make the first move to like try and befriend women first, or another guy, or whatever, your potential partner. I don't think for me, I have always felt my personal relationships that I experience with women are hard for me to. Those are my experiences, and I would rather, if a girl or a woman is in my life, and I would rather not consider myself a friend if I'm attracted to her and I want some type of physical and especially like emotional, any kind of a relationship, but either of those two, definitely. And so that's just my opinion. So if you're trying to make the first move, and if you're a guy, just my opinion is that it probably, like, for me, it doesn't always work for me to befriend a girl first before I try to make a move, only because, like, then I mostly get confused. I mean, women mostly, like, they can build on that. It's not them, but it's really the guy, or at least in my experience. But yeah, and so okay, and so this guy in the article from roadtosolidity.com, again, complete black and white here, but this guy went on to say, because he was like pro masculinity and pro like societal labels of femininity and then masculinity. It's just this crazy cool article, cool read. And but anyways, there's this part in there where he goes, how would you feel if a random girl approached you on the street to tell you that she liked you? Would it feel strange or not? And again, going back to like what I first opened up with, is I absolutely would not feel strange about that. In fact, I know it probably has never happened to me, honestly, but like that is a preferential experience, absolutely. Yeah, I ran out of boxers like 4 days ago, and I haven't done laundry. And so yeah, and then our third way to make the first move is coming from lovepanky.com. No joke, lovepanky.com. And so by Samantha Ann, there's this whole article in there, how to make the first move on girls, 20 must-know tips from girls. And so her number 5 tip was give her your number, man. And so literally, I think that's a good first move. That's how to make your first move. I mean, if you're a guy or a girl or just whatever, however the situation applies to you, and you give the other person your phone number and don't ask for theirs, like, and then just walk away real cool, well then, you know, you kind of took your chance. You're gonna see what comes of it, but at the same time, about making the first move. And yeah, and so tonight we talked about 3 different ways to make the first move. Our first way was for women to grow some balls, figuratively speaking, of course, and make the first move. Guys will reciprocate. I couldn't tell you a guy, or in my examples that would, I mean, I just think about this article that the guy wrote, and I'm like in shock. But anyways, yeah, so giving her your number and then walking away is a great idea. But tonight we did talk about different ways to make the first move. Again, the first one was for the women to do it. The second one was obviously, I will tell you in 1 second, not to befriend her. I kind of forgot about that one. It is really important though, at least my advice. And that was hard because I was just distracted by the other content in that article. And then obviously the last one we talked about was give her / him or whatever the situation is your number, and then see if they call you. See if it's gonna happen. And that's how I would go about doing those things. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I know this vlog was a little bit longer. I know that they've been at different times. I'm trying to get them back on the proper time with my schedule. But yeah, it's still a whole production here with the I don't know what's happening, honestly. But I'm rolling with the punches. So yeah, that's all we can do, I guess. And I really have to do laundry. If you've been watching these videos, I've been saying that for like a week now. And I keep finding clean clothes, so I'm like procrastinating. But really, have a great night, and thank you very much for watching.